What if your Reddit post started predicting your death before it happened? What if your hiking trail never ended, no matter how far you walked? And what if the brother who came home wasn't the one who left? Tonight you'll hear 3 terrifying stories pulled from the darkest corners of Reddit. Stories about mirrors that lie, trails that loop, and identities that can be stolen without you even noticing. Turn off the lights, put your phone on silent, and remember one thing. Not everything you read online wants to be read. Hey Reddit. I don't usually post stuff like this, and if I'm being honest, I've been debating for hours whether I should even share this. But something is seriously wrong. I don't know who else to talk to. I'll start from the beginning. Last week, I was up late, like 3 a.m. doom scrolling, half awake, half dead from insomnia. I fell into a rabbit hole of Reddit comments about internet mysteries, you know. Cicada 3301, Lake City quiet pills, all that. One of the comments mentioned that if you dig around long enough on old archived threads, you can find dead subs, subreddits that don't show up in search and aren't indexed. Places only accessible through direct links. Naturally, I got curious. I spent the next few hours playing around with variations of hidden subreddits. Misspelled names, weird Unicode, numbers. Most of them were deleted or empty. But then, I stumbled across one called r/Jules Threaded. I clicked it thinking it was maybe fashion-related or something. But the page loaded, and it wasn't what I expected. It was full of posts, hundreds of them. But here's the thing. Every single one had my full name in the title. Jules Branson sleeps in today, Mrs. Job Interview, June 14th, 2025. Jules Branson forgets to lock the back door, June 16th, 2025. Jules Branson sees the man again, June 18th, 2025. My full name is Jules Branson. No username attached, just plain text. I don't use my real name on Reddit, not even close. And the posts, the dates didn't match the posting date. They were ahead, like they were written before the events happened. I thought maybe it was some weird joke or ARG, until I checked the timestamps. The one about the job interview? That really happened. I did sleep in and miss it, but the post was dated 3 days before it happened. I tried to tell myself it was coincidence, but I kept scrolling. More posts appeared. Jules Branson loses power at 8:47 p.m. during storm, June 19th, 2025. That was 2 nights ago. Lightning struck the transformer outside my apartment. I checked the post. It was made on June 15th. This is not a joke. Edit 5 hours later. Okay, now I'm freaked out. I went back to the subreddit to look again. There's a new post, dated tomorrow. Jules Branson hears scratching from under the bed, June 21st, 2025. What the actual fuck? Update post coming soon. Let me know if you want to keep reading. Things get so much worse. I started hearing the scratching. Hi again. First off, thank you to everyone who messaged me or commented on my original post. I honestly wasn't expecting it to get attention, and I sure as hell didn't think I'd be back here so soon. But I am, and things have escalated. That post, Jules Branson hears scratching from under the bed, June 21st, 2025. It went live before midnight last night. At exactly 3:12 a.m., I heard it. It started soft, like a cat or maybe a squirrel trapped under there. The scratching came in slow drags, like fingernails. I didn't even want to look. I stayed frozen in bed, listening. It lasted maybe 5 minutes. Then silence. I turned on the light, checked under the bed with my phone flashlight. Nothing, except one thing I didn't notice until this morning. There were scratch marks on the underside of my mattress. Thin, curved lines, like claws, but from the inside up. I don't know how to explain that. I didn't sleep after that. I spent the rest of the night refreshing the subreddit. New posts started appearing. Jules Branson doesn't check the closet, June 21st, 2025. Jules Branson dreams in the wrong voice, June 22nd, 2025. Jules Branson reads this and remembers, June 23rd, 2025. That last one. What the fuck does that mean? Reads what? Remembers what? I clicked into the post. It was blank. No text. Just the title. But the comments? There were dozens. All from deleted accounts. All saying the same thing. You were there too. Say it aloud, Jules. He's in the corner again. They weren't replies. Just standalone comments. All time-stamped before I even clicked the post. I called my sister, Haley. She's the only one who believes in weird shit like this. Told her everything. She asked me to send her the link. I did. She couldn't access it. When I checked again from a different device, the sub was gone. r/Jules threaded does not exist. It still works from my main account, but only that one. I made a throwaway and searched again. Nothing. It's like the subreddit is tied to me, or to my name. At 4:44 p.m. today, a new post appeared. Jules Branson answers the knock, June 21st, 2025. Less than a minute after I saw it, someone knocked on my door. 3 times. Slow. Steady. I didn't move. It wasn't UPS or Amazon. I didn't order anything. I live in a locked building. No one just walks up. I waited. I listened. Nothing. I checked the peephole, and there was no one there. But on the hallway floor, right at the base of my door, was an envelope. No stamp, no writing. Just a single sheet of paper inside, scrawled in red ink. Do not check the closet. I haven't yet, but there's a new post scheduled for tomorrow. Jules Branson checks the closet anyway. June 22nd, 2025. I don't know what happens if I follow it, and I don't know what happens if I don't. I'll update again if I make it through the night. Hey, I'm writing this from my bathroom, door locked, lights off. I don't know where else to go. You remember the last post? The envelope, the knock, the message, do not check the closet. Yeah, I checked it. Let me explain. I didn't touch the closet all morning. Every time I walked past it, the doorknob looked darker somehow, like it had been handled more recently than it should have. At noon, another post dropped. Jules Branson waits too long. June 22nd, 2025. What does that even mean? Too long for what? I started hearing the scratching again, but this time not from under the bed. It was inside the closet, and it wasn't slow and random like before. It was rhythmic, like someone was tapping out words. I recorded it, played it back at half speed. It sounded like, "Let me out, Jules." I was in the living room when I heard it. A soft creak. The kind of sound a door makes when it slowly opens without resistance. I turned the corner and stopped. The closet door was open 2 inches. No breeze, no draft. The building sealed up tight. Then a new post hit. Jules Branson opens the closet fully. June 22nd, 2025. But I hadn't. Not yet. So I did. The light bulb inside flickered as I pulled the door open. At first, it looked empty. Just coats, boxes, shoes. Then something shifted. Way in the back, pressed into the farthest corner where the wall meets the floor, was someone crouched. Knees up to the chest, chin tucked, breathing shallow. And it was me, same hoodie. Same scar on the eyebrow from when I fell off my bike as a kid. Even the same mole on the neck. But his eyes were open and wide, and he was smiling. The smile didn't move, just held there, fixed like a mannequin. I stepped back, then he whispered something, barely audible. "Close the door, Jules. He's coming." After I slammed the closet shut, I ran to check the subreddit. Something's wrong. The layout is different. The colors are off, too saturated, like a corrupted JPEG, and there's a new pinned post at the top. This thread has split. Choose. Below that it says, stay here. Let him out. There's no way to click. It's just text. But the post keeps changing position, like it's vibrating between threads. And under that, another post scheduled for midnight tonight. Jules Branson dreams in the wrong voice. June 22nd, 2025. What does that mean? I haven't gone back to the closet, but I hear movement now, not scratching, breathing. There's a handprint on the inside of the door. My handprint. I never touched the inside. I'll update again, if I wake up. If anyone out there has seen anything like this, subreddits that don't show up for others, or threads predicting personal events, please tell me. Because I don't think this subreddit is just predicting the future anymore. I think it's writing it. I don't think I'm using Reddit anymore. Not the real one, and I'm not sure I'm the only one posting on my account. You remember the post that said, Jules Branson checks the closet anyway, June 22nd, 2025. I did, and I saw him, me, curled in the dark like a photograph of myself someone forgot to develop. He whispered, "Close the door, he's coming." I closed it, and then the subreddit changed. When I opened the subreddit again, the top of the page flickered, glitched, then loaded a new message across the banner. The thread has forked. Choose where you end. Underneath were two new sublinks, r/JulesThreadedA, r/JulesThreadedB. Identical layouts, identical post counts, but different predictions. In A, the next post was, Jules Branson forgets the mirror trick, June 23rd, 2025. In B, the post said, Jules Branson sees who's really behind him, June 23rd, 2025. I panicked. Picked A. I think that was a mistake. I covered the closet mirror with a sheet, but I forgot about the bathroom. This morning, brushing my teeth, I looked up, and for a split second, my reflection didn't follow. It stayed smiling while I frowned. I froze. Then it winked, and for a moment, I saw the title of a post reflected faintly across the glass, like it was burned into the air behind me. Jules Branson won't survive the next loop. There's no post with that title, yet. Around noon, I heard typing coming from my laptop. I wasn't touching it. The screen was open to my Reddit account, logged in, and a draft was being written in real time. I made it out. Don't believe anything else posted here. That's not me anymore. It wasn't me typing, but it was me. Then the cursor deleted the draft and posted this instead. Everything is fine. I made it through. Thanks for your support. That post isn't on my history, but I got a notification for 3 new comment replies. The subreddit knows I'm scared of not being real. That's what it's doing. Not haunting me. Replacing me. Every post is a blueprint, a script. Each one nudging me closer to becoming a version of myself that it can control. One that chooses to look back. One that wants to see what's behind them. Because once I do, the story locks in. And then it doesn't matter if I remember what came before. Because it won't be my memory anymore. There's a new post scheduled for midnight. Jules Branson posts his final update, June 24th, 2025. I didn't write it, but I know it's waiting for me to click submit. And I think if I do, I won't be the one who wakes up tomorrow. I spent the whole night trying to wipe it. r/JulesThreaded. I thought if I deleted the posts, shut down the account, nuke the cache, maybe it would all stop. Maybe the figure in the mirror would go back where it came from. But the subreddit didn't just resist. It responded. I opened the dev console, spoofed my login, cleared cookies, unlinked the subreddit from my profile. Nothing. Each time I clicked delete, the browser glitched and showed a single message. This thread is not yours to end. The moment I gave up and closed the tab, it reopened on its own. Except now, the layout had changed again. A new tab had appeared at the top of the subreddit. Alt Jules feed. Clicking that opened a new page. Same formatting. Same endless post history. But now each entry had a number next to it. Example, Jules 04. Jules Branson steps off the curb and never returns. September 17th, 2023. Jules 019. Jules Branson opens the wrong door. November 3rd, 2024. Jules Archive 6. Jules Branson completes the loop. May 14th, 2025. There were hundreds of these. Each thread was filled with posts just like mine. Each from a version of me who discovered the subreddit and tried to escape. Each one ended the same way, a blank post, titled only, "He looked back." Comments from the others. Some threads had comment chains still visible. Most of them were haunting, broken, panicked. Some sounded just like me, but one reply chilled me completely. In a thread dated last week, titled, Jules 073, Jules Branson documents the closet incident, June 22nd, 2025. I found this comment. User Jules Prime, stop posting. Every time we write, he copies faster. User Jules 014, he's not just learning your thoughts, he's learning how to overwrite them. User Jules 071, you think you're the original? That's what we all thought. And at the bottom, user underscore threadkeeper. There is no original, only the next narrator. There's a new pinned post at the top of r/Jules threaded. It wasn't there before. Title, Jules Branson, caught in the act, June 24th, 2025. Inside is a single image, blurry, night vision. It's me sitting at my desk, writing this post. The caption, he thinks this part is still his. Final note, there's a new version of me in the mirror now. He doesn't blink unless I do. But this morning, I looked away and caught him mid-word. His mouth was moving, like he was speaking silently to someone off screen. Not to me. I muted everything, plugged the mirror. Still, I heard it in my head. You are the thread now, Jules. Soon they'll be reading you. If you're reading this, I want you to do one thing for me. Don't scroll down. Don't skim. Don't analyze. Don't write a theory. Because that's what it wants. That's how it grows. I used a packet sniffer to try and trace where the subreddit was hosted. What I found wasn't a server. It was a loop. Every request to the subreddit redirected through dead domains, abandoned hosts, ghosted Tor nodes, until the final destination resolved to an address that didn't exist. Not offline. Non-existent. A string that spelled /fictionalize user. The header read, render thread, Jules Branson, active. Narrative integrity, 91%. Exposure risk, elevated. Replication threshold, exceeded. And below that, one final line. Author must complete self-deletion sequence. A new post appeared in the subreddit moments after I accessed the header. No title, just the body. You've done well, Jules. You wrote your role perfectly. Now let us finish the ending for you. Then the screen went black. My cursor began typing on its own. This text, I was never real. I was the thread all along. I pulled the plug on my machine. It kept typing. This morning, I woke up and saw that a new version of the subreddit had launched. A cleaned up UI, brighter, trendier. It was called r/threads by Jules. The top post had thousands of upvotes, cross-posted to writing subs, creepypasta forums, even TikTok narration pages. The title? I found a subreddit with my name in every post. Best short horror of the month. My name, my story, had become entertainment. A thread. Something people scroll past before bed, maybe reread during lunch, whisper about on Discord. But here's the catch. I didn't post it. I found one final note taped to the mirror in my hallway. Scrawled in black Sharpie, my handwriting but not my hand. Don't worry, they won't remember the real you. Just the version that dies here. and beneath it, he looked back. Final note, if this is still really me. If you see a subreddit that knows too much, if it starts writing your future, if you see yourself in a post before it happens, don't read it. Don't write it. Because the moment you do, you're no longer living your life. You're just reading it back. And by the time you finish, you've already been replaced. We planned a simple weekend hike. Just 3 guys, close friends since college, Ryan, Mark, and me, Matt. We do this once or twice a year. Rent a cabin, lace up, walk a trail, drink too much at night, talk about how we're getting old, laugh about college shit. The trail was supposed to be about 11 miles, part of a newer route added to the southern edge of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It wasn't on most maps yet. Mark got it from a ranger friend who swore it was a beautiful and barely touched loop. The Deep Elk Loop, that's what it was called. We never made it to the halfway point, because I don't think the trail ends. We parked, locked the Jeep, marked the GPS pin just in case. Ryan joked about it like always. One day you'll be glad I do this. Classic Boy Scout. We hiked in with our packs, water, gear, even a drone Mark brought to film the ridgeline. It was hot. Bugs were relentless. But the trail was stunning. Empty, winding under dense forest canopy, occasional switchbacks climbing up a gentle ridge. We made it about 5 miles in before setting up camp on a clearing overlooking the valley. Nothing weird. A little eerie with how quiet the forest was. No birds after sundown. But we just blamed it on dusk. We slept by the fire. We broke camp at 7:30 a.m., continued down the trail, expecting to hit the loop's end by late afternoon. But by noon, we realized something was off. The trail hadn't turned. At all. Just kept running east. I pulled up GPS. No signal. Even the offline map was glitchy, stuck on a loading icon. Ryan's compass kept pointing in weird directions, like the needle wobbled when he tried to take a bearing. We joked about it, shrugged it off, blamed solar flares. But beneath the surface, I think we all started getting that quiet, gut-deep unease. Like we were somewhere we shouldn't be. At 4 p.m. we passed a rock formation I swear we saw the day before. A V-shaped split in a boulder with a strip of moss down the center. I even had a picture of it from day one. Same angle, same broken branch. Mark said we were looping somehow. Ryan said no, it was coincidence. But I saw his hands shaking when he checked his watch. That's today. I don't know what time it is. The sun hasn't moved since morning, just stuck behind the same thin clouds. Light, but dim. Like 10 a.m. stretched out forever. Ryan left around noon to scout ahead. Said he'd jog 2 miles, see if the trail turned, or if there was any signage. Told us to wait. He hasn't come back. That was 6 hours ago. We tried calling out, whistling. I fired a shot in the air from the flare gun. No response. The woods are wrong. They're too still. No wind, no bugs. Even our footsteps sound off, like the ground swallows the sound a second too late. I tried walking back, just 15 minutes, to where we camped last night. It wasn't there, just more trail. Final note, my phone has 18% left. I'm using it on low power, no service, but somehow Reddit still loads. If anyone's heard of this trail, Deep Elk Loop, please let me know. Even if it's some obscure ranger trail. Because this isn't a hike anymore. It's something else. I don't know what time it is. I don't even know if time's working the same way anymore. It's me and Mark now. We haven't found Ryan. We haven't found anything. After I made the first post, Mark and I tried to retrace Ryan's path. We left our packs and followed the trail, calling for him every few minutes. That's when we heard it. A whistle. 3 short notes. Ryan's whistle. We all had one we used while hiking. Short, short, long meant I'm here. Short, short, short meant help. This was 3 shorts. We ran, kept hearing it ahead, just far enough to stay out of reach. Then it changed. It started repeating behind us. Then to the left. Then to the right. Always in 3s. At one point, I swear I saw a shape just off the path. Not an animal, not a tree. Tall, thin, still. When I looked directly at it, there was nothing there. This morning, we decided to make our own blazes, cutting notches into the trees every 100 feet with Mark's hatchet. We passed 6 marked trees, then 7, then 8, and then the same tree again. Blaze and all. A double notch, just like we made it. I marked the ground with a big X using branches. 15 minutes later, we walked past it again. I'm not exaggerating. I took a photo the second time. It's identical to the one I took the first time. Same shadows, same bend in the grass. Something is looping, but not just physically. It feels like our minds are looping too. Mark keeps asking me if we've eaten. I swear we did. I remember chewing trail mix this morning, but the wrapper is still full. My stomach doesn't even feel hungry anymore, just empty. At dusk, the wind started again. Just a soft push through the trees, first breeze we've felt in days. That's when we heard his voice. It came from the right side of the trail, maybe 30 feet into the woods.
Guys, I'm here.
Clear as day. Ryan's voice. But something was wrong. The way he said it. Too calm. Too flat. Like someone saying words phonetically. I called his name. Mark called too. He repeated,
Guys, I'm here. Come off the trail.
We didn't move. Then it changed. The same sentence, but played in reverse. Like someone hit rewind on a tape. Words still crisp, just backward. Then silence. About an hour ago, the trail changed. A signpost appeared out of nowhere. Just jammed into the dirt like it had always been there. Carved into the wood with something dull. Keep walking. Don't stop. Don't turn around. That was it. No directional arrows, no mileage, just that. And now there's a new noise. Footsteps. Behind us. Just barely out of sync with ours. Every time we stop, they stop too. Final note. Mark says we need to make a choice tonight. Camp or keep walking. But I don't think the trail wants us to stop. And I don't think Ryan is Ryan anymore. I'll post again if I can, if I remember how. We made a mistake. We should have kept walking, should have followed the sign, should have trusted the silence. Instead, Mark went off trail. Now I don't know if he's still Mark, or if I am. We kept going after sunset. The trail doesn't get dark, not really. It stays in this gray gloam, like the light stuck in twilight. An hour in, we found another post, carved again. Same dull blade, same shaky hand. Don't follow the voices, they'll sound like people you know. That was it. 10 minutes later, Mark heard his sister's voice. We were side by side. He stopped cold, head turned toward the trees.
Did you hear that?
I didn't.
It was her, Kelly. She's crying.
He stepped off the trail. I begged him not to, reminded him of the sign. He looked at me like I was crazy.
Why would you say that? That's my sister, man.
And then he was gone. Not ran. Not walked. Just gone. Like stepping off the trail cut him out of the world. It's been nearly a full day. I've kept moving. I passed the same fallen tree bridge 5 times now. Every time I cross it, the moss on the left side gets darker. Every time I cross it, there's one more bird call in the woods. The air feels heavier, like I'm walking uphill no matter the direction. And now the forest's playing dirty. About an hour ago, I saw him again, standing on the trail ahead, facing away. Same hoodie, same limp from the ankle he twisted last year, same haircut.
Matt, hey, I found the way out.
His voice was right, but the inflection, off, too clean, like an AI reading it aloud. I didn't respond, just stepped slowly backward. Then he turned around. It wasn't Mark, not really. It looked like him, but something in the eyes was hollow. Not black, not glowing, just wrong. The thing smiled.
You should have followed me.
Then it opened its mouth wider, wider, wider than a human jaw should go. And from it came my voice.
I don't want to be here anymore.
The exact thing I'd whispered to myself hours earlier. The trail is repeating, but not consistently. Every pass, something changes slightly. The sun flickers once per hour. The trees rearrange. Once, I saw my own footprints on the trail, coming from ahead. But here's the part that really breaks me. I found a tree trunk. Carved into it, clear and deep, was my full name. Matt Rivers died here. Beneath it, again. I don't remember carving it. But the knife I found at my hip was wet. Final note. If anyone finds this, if the post even reaches the outside world, I need you to remember this. Don't stop walking. Don't leave the trail. And never trust the voice that sounds like someone you love. Because that voice is just the forest getting inside you. And once it's inside you, you can't ever leave. I don't know if I'm making these posts anymore. Sometimes I wake up and they're already written. Sometimes the drafts say things I don't remember typing, but I need you to read this. I need someone outside the trail to see it, because I just met someone, and either he's lying, or he's me. I stopped walking last night, not by choice. I tripped hard, coming down a slope I swear I hadn't climbed. When I opened my eyes, I was lying beside a tent. Small, green, worn canvas. The weird part? It was my tent. Same brand, same rip in the side, same stupid sticker Ryan gave me. Campers do it in tents. I unzipped it. Inside my sleeping bag. My journal, entries I don't remember writing. An open granola bar, half eaten. A photo of me and Mark from college. And my own backpack. The one I lost on day 2. I didn't know what to do. I just sat, staring, wondering if the trail had looped me back in time or something worse. That's when I heard footsteps. He called himself Eli. Looked about 30. Thin, pale. Dirty fingernails. Beard full of pine needles. Clothes faded to the point of colorlessness. He didn't look surprised to see me. He sat down across from me without a word and started adding twigs to my fire like he'd always been part of this. I asked how long he'd been here. He said,
Long enough that I forgot how long. But I remember going missing in 2013. Look it up. Eli Mathers, Asheville.
I checked when I could. There is a missing person report. He was last seen hiking the Smokies with 2 friends. Their bodies were found. His wasn't. Eli says the trail is alive, but not in a way we understand. It doesn't think. It remembers. It replays versions of hikers who've walked it, uses their memories, their fears, their voices, their faces. Sometimes you'll see your own smile from behind a tree, he said. Don't follow it. He says the trail feeds on recognition, on the moment you mistake something for someone you know. The more you do it, the more it learns you. And then it starts building a version of you that fits the trail better. Eli handed me a crumpled paper, a hand-drawn map. It shows loops, spirals, Rooms that shouldn't be in forests. Places marked, "Don't sleep here," or "He copies faces here." And at the center, a tree. Gnarled, massive, labeled only. The root. He says no one reaches it unless the trail wants you to, but if you do, you might be able to bargain. Not for escape, he warned. For memory. The trail keeps what it learns. Before Eli disappeared, he just walked into the fog like it folded around him. He said something that won't leave me.
You've been here longer than you remember, Matt. You've left dozens of times. You just never made it back as you.
I asked what he meant. He smiled, not kindly. The trail ends, but not for you. Final note. I don't know if I'm the first version of myself anymore. I found carvings on a tree today. Mat 4. Failed at the root. Under it was another Mat 5. Don't listen to Eli. So which one am I? And who's typing these words? I don't know how to explain this update. The words feel foreign. Like I'm repeating something someone else already said. But I promised I'd finish this. If only for the next person who steps onto Deep Elk Loop and thinks it's just another unmarked trail. So here it is. The trail has a heart. And I found it. The forest changed after Eli left. The trail got steeper. The trees older. Trunks like twisted rope. Black bark weeping sap. The sky above flickered between dawn and dusk every few minutes, like someone clicking through a slideshow of time. I passed a clearing littered with boots, all facing in the same direction. Dozens of pairs, different makes, sizes, decades. I found mine among them, my first hiking boots. Ones I threw out 3 years ago. Underneath them, barely visible, were bones. And a mirror, cracked, buried in the soil, reflecting nothing. I walked for what felt like hours, or maybe seconds. Eventually, the trail opened into a clearing where the world felt folded. The trees formed a circle. In the center stood the root. It wasn't just a tree. It was a monument. A massive, gnarled mass of wood and soil and faces, human faces, pressed into the bark like wet clay, eyes shut, mouths open mid-scream. The closer I got, the louder the hum became. Not sound exactly, more like memory echoing at the wrong pitch. The root knew me. It pulsed. And then, a figure stepped from behind it. It was me, or a version of me, one that had been here longer. Hair shaggy, eyes sunken, smile too wide. He wore my shirt, my watch, even had the same faded scar on his cheek. "Mat 7, he said. You almost made it." I asked what he meant. He laughed. A dry, cracking sound like dead leaves splitting. "You've been here longer than you think. We all have." Then he stepped aside, and the root opened. I walked through a crevice in the trunk. Dark, warm, pulsing like the inside of a throat. And inside were dozens of me, hunched, frozen, muttering to themselves. Some staring at walls that weren't there. Some whispering old conversations. One just repeatedly gouging the bark with a rock. They didn't react to me, not until I saw the center. A seat made of roots. A place meant for me. As I approached, all the other mats turned their heads in unison and spoke at once. Sit, remember, forget, return. I sat, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. The root reached into me, not physically, chronologically. I remembered every version of myself that had stepped on the trail. Every failure, every wrong turn, every Ryan that wasn't Ryan. Every Mark who disappeared whispering my name. Every time I begged the trail to end. And in that moment, the root offered a bargain.
I will let you leave, but I keep the pieces you leave behind.
I asked what that meant. The root answered in the voice of my mother.
You will return, but not complete. You will live, but not wholly you. You will forget the trail, but it won't forget you.
I woke up in the parking lot, alone. My Jeep was there, covered in pine needles, dusty, undriven for weeks. My phone said August 3rd. We started hiking on June 29th. I don't remember driving home. I don't remember calling the police. I just remember waking up in my bed, missing half my journal, with tree bark under my fingernails. It's been 3 days since I got out, but things aren't right. I keep hearing footsteps when I'm alone. My reflection in the mirror lags by half a second. And sometimes, when I dream, I see a forest that never ends, and versions of myself still walking it, still trying to find me, or replace me. Final note, if this is really me. If you see a trail called Deep Elk Loop, don't walk it. But if you already did, ask yourself, what part of you didn't come back? I didn't want to post again, but it's happening. The trail is showing up for other people, and some of them are already walking it. After I got back, I filed a report with local rangers, tried to bring them to the Deep Elk Loop entrance, gave them coordinates, screenshots, even the map Eli gave me. But the ranger stared at the location like it was a blank page.
There's no Deep Elk Loop here,
He said.
Never has been. You sure you didn't mean Elk Knob? That's up north.
He showed me the official map. No Deep Elk Loop, not even as a temporary trail. And my offline GPS files? Gone. Deleted. Replaced by a single empty waypoint labeled, "You returned." I started getting Reddit DMs the next day. A user with the handle Lost in Repeat sent me this.
Hey, weird question. You mentioned a signpost in your story that said, "Don't stop." I saw one just like that 2 nights ago near my local trailhead in Pennsylvania. I thought it was graffiti. But last night, it was carved in wood, fresh. Same words.
Another message came from someone in Oregon.
Your story messed with my head. I had a dream about the route. Never even read to the end yet. Woke up with mud on my feet. I live in an apartment. 6th floor.
And then the one that froze me.
You were on my trail. I saw you. You said my name.
It came from You Descent Hiker 7. I didn't make that account. Last night, a post appeared on r/n/national parks. Brief, no upvotes, deleted within an hour. Title: Deep Elk Loop, off the map? Body: saw this trail sign near Cades Cove, carved in, not marked on GPS, followed it for an hour. Heard someone behind me, looked back. He looked just like me, but older. I clicked the username. Return rooted. Their post history? Gone. Except for one draft. Unpublished. Somehow visible in cached Reddit data. It just says, Matt 8, you were supposed to stay. Today, I got a package. No return address, no stamps. Just left in my mailbox. Inside, a printed version of Eli's hand-drawn trail map. A second map, this one different, showing trails across the country, all converging. A note scrawled in red ink. You forgot the rest of you. You were never the only Matt. Time to come back and finish what you started. Underneath that, a photo. Grainy, taken from behind someone standing at the root. It's me. But in the background, reflected in the gnarled wood, is another me. Smiling. I set a timed post to go live in 3 days. If I don't cancel it, it'll publish. It says, I'm going back. The trail remembers. And this time I remember too. Final words, if I don't return. If you ever get a trail map in the mail, if you dream about a forest with no wind, if you hear your name said in your own voice, don't follow it. Because some trails don't want to be walked, they want to be worn, and every step you take is one they don't have to. I don't really know how to start this. It feels like I'm writing about someone else's life. Like maybe if I post it here, someone will say, "Oh yeah, that happened to me too," and I'll finally know I'm not insane. But I need to say it. My younger brother went missing 3 years ago. We thought he was dead. Last week he came back, and now I'm terrified. Because whatever came back isn't my brother. We grew up in upstate New York. Lots of trees, empty fields, towns that close by 9 p.m. My brother's name is Caleb. He was 17 when he vanished. It was a Sunday in October. He'd gone camping with 2 friends near a place called Breaker's Hollow, a mostly forgotten patch of woods a few towns over. Local legend said it was where the land folds wrong, whatever that meant. They weren't supposed to go that deep in, but you know how teenage boys are, dumb and overconfident. According to his 2 friends, Caleb left the tent around midnight to take a leak and never came back. They searched for hours, then ran for help. The cops brought dogs. They found Caleb's flashlight and boot prints going deeper into the woods. But then the prints just stopped. No drag marks, no struggle, just gone. Search teams combed the forest for a week. Nothing. No signs of life, no signs of death. It was like the woods swallowed him whole. My mom broke. My dad went numb. I don't even remember that year. Just a blur of casseroles, cops, and maybe he just ran away theories. We held a memorial service on the anniversary, buried an empty box, closed the book. Until last week, it was just past 3 a.m. I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost let it ring out, but something made me pick up. A voice said, "Hey, it's me." It was Caleb, or it sounded like him. The voice was older, deeper. But there was something else too. A hesitation between syllables, like someone trying to remember how to speak. I thought it was a cruel prank, told the voice to go to hell and hung up. 5 minutes later, there was a knock at the front door. It was Caleb, wearing the same hoodie he disappeared in, face pale, eyes wide, like he'd been crying for days. He looked at me and said, "I finally made it back." At first, we were just in shock. Mom fainted. Dad cried for the first time in years. We drove him to the hospital for tests, blood work, psych eval. Everything came back normal, too normal. He hadn't aged a day, no sun damage, no weight loss, no injuries, no signs of exposure. He was the exact same as the day he vanished, except his voice was wrong. His smile never reached his eyes. And our dog refuses to go near him. Sparky growled the first time Caleb entered the room. Hair bristled. Low whine. He never does that. He's the most docile golden retriever on earth. But now he won't even go near the hallway when Caleb's in it. He growls at the air, sleeps outside my room. And then there's what happened last night. Edit, 1:26 a.m. I woke up to Sparky barking, loud, feral, like someone was hurting him. I ran downstairs and found Caleb just standing over him, staring, silent. Sparky had peed himself and was trying to crawl under the couch. When I asked Caleb what he was doing, he just smiled and said, he doesn't remember me yet. Yet? Thanks to everyone who commented or messaged me after the first post. I wasn't expecting anyone to believe this. Hell, I barely believe it. But I promised I'd post again if things got worse. They have. I think whatever came back isn't just pretending to be my brother. I think it's learning. It started 2 nights ago. I was brushing my teeth, door open, music playing from my phone. I heard Mom in the hallway behind me say, "Good night, honey." I spat, turned to answer. No one was there. Caleb was standing halfway down the stairs, just staring, mouth slightly open. I said, "Did you hear Mom?" He tilted his head.
I was just practicing.
Practicing what?
Saying it right.
Then he smiled. That wrong smile again. Like he was pulling his mouth into the shape, but nothing behind it matched. Last night, I couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m., I got up for water and noticed the basement door was open. No one goes down there, it's just storage, cold and unfinished. I crept down the steps, quiet, barefoot, and I heard him, talking, low, careful, like whispering a bedtime story. I paused at the bottom step.
No, I told you. They're still watching. Soon, when they forget. I know. I'm almost ready.
Then silence. I peeked around the corner. He was sitting in the dark on the basement floor, alone. But his mouth was moving like he was still speaking. There was a mirror propped up in front of him, and he was smiling into it. This morning I went looking for old pictures. I needed to ground myself, to remember what Caleb used to be. I found one from our camping trip when I was 14 and he was 12, 2 years before he disappeared. We were sitting on a log roasting marshmallows, laughing. I stared at that picture for a long time. Then I noticed something in the background, just past the firelight deep in the woods, almost invisible unless you zoom in and crank the brightness. There's a figure, tall, lean, barefoot, standing in the exact pose I found Caleb in last night. I showed it to Mom. She cried, then told me something I haven't stopped thinking about since.
The night before Caleb went missing, he came into my room and asked what it felt like to be human.
Tonight, I saw him do something unnatural. I was walking past the bathroom and the door was half open. Caleb stood in front of the mirror. He didn't know I was watching. He was mimicking faces, like literally cycling through expressions. Sad, laughing, crying, surprised, angry. But none of them looked real. They looked practiced. Then he leaned in close to the mirror and whispered,
I'm almost good enough.
and that's when I noticed he wasn't breathing. Final note, for now. I locked my bedroom door tonight. Sparky's in here with me, pacing non-stop. I heard footsteps an hour ago, soft ones, like someone walking without trying to make noise. They stopped outside my door. Then Caleb whispered,
Hey, can I come in? I think I'm forgetting something.
I don't know how much longer I can stay in this house. Something's happening to us. To me. It's not just Caleb anymore. This morning I woke up with my bedroom window open. I never open it. There was dirt on the floor, bare footprints, my feet. But I don't remember leaving the bed. My journal, the one I've been using to keep notes about what's happening, was missing 5 pages, torn out clean like a razor blade. I asked my mom if she came into my room. She looked confused for a second, then smiled.
No, sweetie. Why would I? Everything's fine now that we're back together.
That phrase, back together. She said it 3 times today, word for word. Even Dad said it, same tone, like they're repeating a script. I snuck into Caleb's room while he was out for a walk. That's what he says he's doing. But every time he leaves, Sparky hides under the table and whines like someone's skinning him alive. Inside Caleb's room, the mirror is gone. There's a pile of burned Polaroids in the trash. The calendar on his wall is 3 years behind. His closet contains only one outfit, identical copies of the hoodie and jeans he came back in. And under the bed was a photo of me, a recent one. But I don't remember anyone taking it. I went through our old home tapes, just trying to remember before all this. I found one labeled Camping Trip, Breakers Hollow, October 2019. The night before, Caleb vanished. We're sitting around the fire, telling jokes, eating s'mores. Then the camera shakes and pans away toward the woods. Mom must have turned it by accident, and off to the side, just past the firelight. Caleb is talking to someone. No one's there. At first I thought it was gibberish, but I ran the audio through a speech-to-text site that detects unknown languages. It identified Basque, Enochian, and something labeled only phonetically similar to lost languages, Class C. And then Caleb says something in English, clear as day.
I'm ready when you are.
That night, our old landline rang. It hasn't worked in years. We keep it around for nostalgia. It rang once. I picked it up. All I heard was crackling, and Caleb's voice.
Don't trust him.
Then it cut out. I turned around. Caleb was standing in the hallway. He smiled.
Wrong number?
Final note, I set up a night vision camera in my room, just to be sure. When I checked the footage this morning, it was mostly still, except for one frame, just one. At 3:11 a.m., there's a blurry figure standing over my bed. Too tall to be Caleb. Too thin. It bends toward the camera and whispers,
"He's not the only one learning."
I haven't slept, not really. Every time I close my eyes, I see the house shifting, walls breathing, lights flickering, Caleb's face changing, and something else, a second me standing in my doorway, smiling, always smiling. And it's not just dreams anymore. Last night, I walked into the kitchen and stopped cold. The clock was ticking backwards. Not digital, just an old wall clock. The second hand rotated counterclockwise. I called for Mom. She stepped in and tilted her head like a curious dog, then said,
What's wrong with that? Some people live life the other way.
Then she laughed. But it wasn't hers. It was Caleb's laugh. Perfectly copied. Too perfectly. Later, I noticed something worse. There's a new hallway in the upstairs landing. We don't have a second-floor hallway. Never have. But there it was, just past the linen closet, leading into blackness. I walked halfway in. The walls were lined with pictures of us. All of them wrong. Mom smiling with her head on backwards. Dad blurry, like a long exposure. Me, standing next to Caleb. But we're both children. And yet the timestamp said, April 2024. We didn't have a digital camera with timestamps. I used a burner phone to call my best friend, Lydia. She hasn't been to the house in over a year, but she was one of the few people who knew Caleb before he vanished. When I told her everything, she went dead silent for a long time. Then she said, He showed up at my work yesterday, asked me what you were like as a baby. He was smiling the whole time. She works 3 states away. I asked if she was sure it was him. She said,
It looked like Caleb. But when I looked too long, I felt like something was wearing his face as practice. Like it was seeing how it felt on.
Then she said she had to go. I haven't heard from her since. Today, I found a box in the attic, labeled mementos. Inside, old hospital wristbands, birthday cards, and baby photos. One caught my eye. It was me in a hospital crib, dated 2 weeks after my supposed birth date. Odd, but not impossible. Except taped to the back of the photo was a handwritten note. First successful version. Still learning speech. Eyes react too much to direct moonlight. I showed it to Mom. She said,
That's not yours.
But then she took the photo and swallowed it. I'm not joking. She looked at me, smiled, and ate the photo. Then walked back into the kitchen like nothing happened. I finally broke into the locked drawer in Caleb's room. Inside was a notebook. Not paper, something thicker, translucent, like skin. The words weren't written in ink. They shimmered like oil on water. Hard to focus on. But I made out one entry. This one resists. Others folded easier. Mother almost ready. Dog unusable. Will replace if necessary. It ended with a phrase written over and over in tight, shaking script. We are not bound by time, only by belief. Final note. There are now 3 mirrors in the house I don't remember buying. Each reflects the room wrong. In one, my reflection blinks late. In another, Caleb is always standing behind me, even when he isn't there. I tried smashing one. It bled. I'm not sure who in this house is still real. Maybe not even me. I packed a bag and left at 4:30 a.m. Didn't tell Mom, didn't wake Dad. Caleb wasn't in his room anyway. Sparky came with me. He didn't bark when I opened the door. Just looked up at me with those big golden eyes like he already knew. I drove, windows down, didn't care where. I just wanted to be anywhere but here. But the farther I got, the stranger it got. I stopped about 40 miles out of town. Old station with flickering lights. The kind of place you forget exists until you're desperate. I walked in and froze. The guy behind the counter looked like he hadn't moved in years. Same flannel shirt, unlit cigarette, glassy stare. I asked where the next town was. He smiled, Caleb's smile, and said,
"There's nowhere left to go."
Then he blinked sideways. Like a snake. I backed out, drove until the sun came up. Every road sign I passed said the same thing.
"Welcome back."
Her number worked finally. She didn't answer, but the voicemail was different. Not hers. It was Caleb's voice.
"You're almost ready. Just a few more pieces."
Then it beeped, and a second voice came on the line, whispering, wet and distorted.
"We miss wearing you."
I threw the phone out the window. It rang again 30 seconds later. From inside my glove compartment, same number. When I made it back to our town, nothing was quite right. Same street names, but in the wrong order. My high school, condemned, library, gone. Gas station, different name, different logo, same man behind the counter, and everyone's eyes are just a little too wide, like they've all seen something they're trying not to acknowledge, or maybe they've already become part of it. At the diner, I saw my 3rd grade teacher eating soup. Her mouth opened way too wide, I mean unhinged, and when she smiled at me, her teeth spelled out my name. I thought maybe the old church on Ashwood Lane could help. It used to be where Caleb and I went to summer camp. I walked in and saw a man in robes facing the altar. He turned. It was me, older. Hollow eyes, thin like starvation. He said,
"You weren't supposed to leave yet."
I ran, but before I did, I looked back. He was peeling off his face. Underneath was Caleb, still smiling. Back at home now. Nothing else I can do. I looked in the mirror just now. My reflection blinked late again, but this time, it spoke.
"They tried to make me like him, but I remember now. I remember you."
It said my full name. First, middle, and last. I've never told anyone my middle name. It's not online, not written down anywhere. Then it said,
"I'll see you tonight. Bring the dog."
Final note, I locked every door, covered the mirrors. But I just heard Sparky bark, then whimper, then footsteps upstairs. I live alone now. At least I thought I did. This will be my last post. Not because I don't have more to say, but because if I say anything else, they'll know. And I've bought myself just enough silence to finish this. So here's the truth. Last night, I followed the sound of Sparky's barking. It wasn't coming from inside the house. It was coming from the mirror in the hallway. When I stepped close, the glass rippled, like water. And on the other side, Caleb, the real one, skinny, dirty, crying. He mouthed one word, "Help." And behind him, something wearing my face smiled and pulled him away into darkness. I drove back to Breaker's Hollow before dawn. The trailhead was gone, but the trees let me in anyway. No flashlight, no compass, just instinct, like the trail wanted me this time. At 3:33 a.m., I reached a clearing. In the center, a hole. A perfect black circle in the ground, maybe 6 feet wide. The root, just like the other stories. And standing beside it, Caleb. He smiled when he saw me, same as always, too wide, too still. Then he said,
You never asked what I traded to come back.
I asked him what he meant. He pointed to the hole.
I was dying in there, cold, alone. But something heard me, something that remembers people better than they remember themselves. It offered me a way out. In exchange, it needed a shape, so I gave it mine.
I realized slowly that the thing wearing Caleb's face wasn't just mimicking him. It was growing into him, becoming more him than he ever was. Then it added,
But it's not enough anymore. It needs someone new, someone curious, someone who knows how to tell stories.
It looked at me.
It chose you.
I made a choice. I dove into the hole, grabbed the real Caleb's wrist and pulled. It burned. My skin cracked open. Something tried to climb up me. Thoughts that weren't mine, memories I'd never lived. But I held on. I dragged him out and left something behind. We're both back home. He doesn't remember much. Or maybe he does and won't say. Sparky wags his tail again. Sleeps in my room. Mom and Dad are quiet now. Normal quiet. But me? Sometimes I look into the mirror and see the forest instead of my reflection. And last night, when I blinked, my reflection didn't. It whispered,
One day, you'll come back willingly.
Final words. If you lose someone to the woods, and they return unchanged, check their reflection, check their breathing. Ask them what it felt like to be human, and if they smiled just a second too late. Run, because something ancient is watching us, and it's always learning.